Greetings, Cleveland, and welcome to Creative Focus, the show that illuminates some of Cleveland's most talented and creative artists across the genres of film, dance, music, theater, TV, and visual arts. I'm your host, Cornell Calhoun III, and I'm thrilled to have on the show today critically acclaimed vocalist, the queen of the big band sound, Cleveland's own Miss Dianne Palmer.
Oh my goodness.
Dianne, welcome to Creative Focus.
Oh, thank you so much.
Let's chop it up.
All right. That was quite a lead up to this. Thank you.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
So I understand that your dad kind of started you into performing. You did a commercial. How old were you when you did that commercial?
You know what? I'm sure I started younger than 5, but I was either 4 or 5. And my dad, who was real estate agent by day and performer by night, he entered me in a contest where I was holding a can or a canister of, I think it was Johnson's baby powder,
Okay,
and I was just like, and at the time, I don't know, I looked like little orphan Annie, but with the little red cheeks, black and white it was.
And then you and your sisters did a little performing as well, right?
Not just a little performing, but this was a family tradition, Cal. We were not allowed to go to any milestone, anniversary, birthday, without having a little show. I would write the lyrics, not the lyrics to a new song, but
Okay.
I would make up lyrics and put them into a song, and then the 3 of us would
Perform.
Yeah,
okay.
but big. We always used the big jazz hands.
And then I know you went on to Ohio University, did theater there. What were some of the productions you did there?
Oh my goodness. I started out as a freshman with shows like Man of La Mancha. I played Aldonza. There were dramas like Jimmy Shine. There was Oklahoma, where I was Ado Annie. You probably could have guessed. I wasn't the ingenue. I was the second lead in the show. Shows like that.
So how did you enjoy that
Oh
performance?
man, I'll tell you, it was just such a. Ohio University was an excellent opportunity. It allowed me to get basic studies, general studies, and then you had to audition while you were there. You didn't even know if it was going to work out or not for what was called their studio program. This was a very elite program, and they had auditions from all over the United States and from, actually, I'll back up a step and just say that in order to get into Ohio University, I knew that there was a talent audition. So my dad drove me down and
Drove you down to Athens, huh?
down to Athens, Ohio. He would, along the way, he'd stop and say, you know, if you were here, you went to school here, he'd say, we'd already be there. But I picked the school farther away. But the audition was for people all over the United States, and they picked 2. They picked a female and a male, and it was strictly on talent, and I got a 4-year scholarship. So that's the way it began there.
That's incredible.
And to answer your question, yeah, the shows there were, the directors were wonderful, the producers were wonderful, the craft that we learned there has taken me through.
And now, how did you transition from drama into music?
Well, as you know, because you're an actor, you take all the skills that you learn from theater and you put it into your presentation, yeah? So actually my first transition was not straight into music, although I was always involved in some kind of performance, Cal. I was involved in folk groups and pop groups and country, always doing that all through, starting probably in, I want to say 7th grade, in middle school and high school. And so I went out after college And singing on a cruise ship, by the way. I entertained on a cruise ship, I know. Wow. It was a blast. I went out to California thinking I was going to be get this, my big idea was for me to be Marlo Thomas on That Girl, because I figured I'd be, this is so silly, but I thought I'll be walking down the street and somebody's, I don't know if anybody remembers the show, but you remember the show?
Yes.
And they'd say at the beginning, I want that girl. And I want to tell you, I was so not that girl, especially out in California. There was a type that they wanted, but that's what I wanted to do. I also wanted to be on the Love Boat. Well, what I ended up doing was I ended up waitressing a lot. So, but I did get my Screen Actors Guild card out there. I got on the set of a part on the Waltons and so on and so forth. And then went to New York and ended up waitressing there as well and standing in line for auditions. And I moved back to Cleveland. And I'm going to tell you, even though you didn't ask, I just want you to know that I moved back to Cleveland because I wanted to have some kind of normal life. I remember going to my mom and dad's house and saying, wow, everything smells so clean and fresh here. So you see, I had that part of me in me. And I thought, now how am I going to make a living? And so the first thing I did was I thought, I think I'll do commercials, voiceovers, not singing, but voiceovers. But music did follow me. I was involved in singing at Ohio University. I was in a group there called Sunny Skies. And, but I started out in voiceover work. And it was a carryover from my theater and brought it right into the studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that voiceover work later. And what attracted you to the big band sound? Because a lot of people aren't versed in that area. So what attracted you to that?
Money.
Money.
No, it's never money. I tell you, don't count on getting rich being a musician. Count on the love of the music, really. That's what sees you through. And what attracted me to the big band sound was actually by accident. My husband, who's sitting over there, Robert, introduced me to a very wonderful man in my life. Other than my husband, is Dan Zola, the Dan Zola Orchestra.
Right, okay.
And there was an opening, Cal. It wasn't like, gee, I was attracted to big band music. There happened to be an opening at the time for a vocalist. They had lost their vocalist for one reason or another. And so they said, would you like to audition? Because my promotional man, my husband, said, she sings, she's a singer. And they said, all right, you pick out two, 3 tunes. And I learned the music. I remember standing in my parents' garage with the music blaring and went to that audition. You know, we were talking about nerves, and I was so nervous to do that. And I succeeded.
You succeeded.
Yeah, and they said, okay. Come and do it.
Yeah, I have a surprise because I want the audience to take a look at you singing one of my favorite songs of all time,
What's
Blue
that?
Moon.
Oh, yeah.
With the big orchestra.
Okay.
So here's Dianne Palmer singing Blue Moon.
Good luck.
Would you say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Blue Moon would not be included in the American Songbook, would it?
No, definitely.
Oh,
definitely.
Okay. So explain what that is.
The Great American Songbook.
Yeah, the Great American Songbook.
Sure,
yes.
sure. It's used, that Great American Songbook is used everywhere, all the time, in many introductions, you know, music from the Great American Songbook. It's music basically, Cal, from, you know, from the 30s and 40s. And it was comprised of jazz and Broadway and original songs. We talk about the Gershwins and all the big band sounds of Jimmy Dorsey,
Tommy
right?
Dorsey,
Tommy Dorsey, right? Harry James, Glenn Miller.
My mother used to listen to like Diana Washington.
Yes.
And, those that kind of music. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I love that kind of music. Now, remember, what was that song that Alfalfa used to sing?
You're talking about the Little Rascals, aren't you?
Yeah, Little Rascals. Object of
the object of my affection will change my complexion from white to rosy red.
Now that's included too, right?
Absolutely, and you know that was one of the ways that that younger people, they didn't even realize what they were learning at the time. But he sang it standing up on stage to Darla.
Darla, yeah.
And we know the words, right? Because we listened to that so many times.
And I got another surprise
What's
for
that?
you. I got a clip of Alfalfa singing that song.
Okay.
Let's just take a quick look.
All right. See how we did.
Yeah.
The object of my affection changed my complexion from white to rosy red. Anytime you hold my hand, tell me that you're mine. Many girls who can thrill me, some who can fill me with dreams of happiness. But I know I'll never rest till you say you're mine.
Man, that brings back so many,
It
many memories.
It does. That was a good show, and
show,
it did introduce us to the big band sound.
And you know, I wanted to read something
Sure.
for you. I have here.
Should I be nervous?
No.
Oh, okay.
Cleveland-based vocalist Dianne Palmer had listeners in the palm of her hand. Don't miss hearing Miss Palmer. You won't be disappointed. Chris Cassidy, It's a Wrap. Another. Dianne Palmer enchanted her audience tonight with just the right mix of delightful mixed with style. And that was John Jacoby of themusicmag.com. So you are a fabulous performer.
Oh, thank you. Thank
and I
you.
enjoy watching a lot of your clips.
It's my heart. I just so enjoy it as well. Thank you for that. That's very nice.
What do you enjoy most about performing, would you say?
Singing, that kind of performing, theater, that kind of performing. Here's the perfect way I think to express that. You can have the worst day in the world. Cal, you're an actor. You know how it is. You get on stage, and what happens? You know, lights, camera, action, and you know everybody here, and everything disappears. It disappears. Your troubles of the day disappear. Everything, it's a way of it brings you joy personally, and then to look out, if you're able, and the lights aren't in your eyes, right, to see the audience and to see the people who are enjoying it and making them smile. That's the joy of performance.
If you could perform at any venue, where would you like to? What would be the biggest stage for you?
You know what my dad used to say? He said, "How do you get to Carnegie Hall?" Do you know the answer?
Mm-mm.
Practice. But seriously, to answer your question, you know, Cal, I found over the years that it doesn't matter the venue. I don't have a favorite venue, or I don't have one that I would love to work in.
Okay.
It's really the people. It's the people you're working with, the musicians you're working with, and I point over to the sides because with a big band, usually they're there,
Right.
and I'm in front. If I'm working in a trio situation or a smaller instrumentation, you know, I'm surrounded by it. But it's the it's not the venue. Let's put it this way: if you're playing the stadium, you know, and you've got I don't know how many, 50,000 people, 100,000 people, or whatever, that's a whole different experience. I personally have never done that. I think the largest crowd I've ever sung for and with probably 2,000 people.
That's still a good venue, though.
Still, yeah. And really fun. But you know what? It can be an intimate setting. It can be, you're putting on the same show. I like to put in the same amount of effort, the same amount of heart, and the same amount of connection, whether it's a venue of 25 people or 25,000, let's say.
You do it well. Describe your fan base.
My fan base.
Yeah, your fan base. The people who adore you.
Oh yeah. You're just supposing that there are people who? Okay, I'll go with your question. I think that from what I've been told and what people, I don't call them my fans, but the people that enjoy listening to me are people that enjoy smiling when they're listening to music. They enjoy having a feeling. They enjoy dancing if it's that kind of music. The fans are people who like to be entertained, and also, I think this is so super important, is not just to stand and deliver. As in theater, you just don't stand and deliver. Obviously, you've got to put some energy into it, and that energy that comes from your heart and your voice, whether you're speaking or singing, that goes out and connects. That's who I think the fans are. Those are people who feel that I'm connecting with them. I think without that, I think you've got a person that is just...
I understand.
Yeah.
So how do you think your style has evolved over the years? Have you made a transition at all since you began to sing?
Yeah, excuse me.
No problem.
What an interesting question. You know, I think the biggest evolution has to do with growing up, with experiences that we deal with on a regular basis: heartbreak, love, happiness, new experiences like being here with you today, Cal. You take those experiences and then you bring them into what you deliver. So, for instance, there's a song. You know the song "Fever"?
Of course.
Never know how much I love you.
Yeah, so right? You said you weren't going to sing for me.
How can you do that song without snapping, right?
Right.
You can be, let's say you're doing that song when you're 18, 19, 20, you're still in college, you're still whatever, and you haven't had those life experiences, so maybe you don't know, da 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 da. You can listen to the music and you can know the music, but to interpret the music, you bring yourself into it more. So I think I'm better able through the years, have been better able through the years to express myself, I think, because of life experiences, the ups and the downs.
Let's express ourselves. We got a clip of Dianne singing "Fever."
You do not.
Yes, I do.
There we go. Yeah. bear. You give me fever. When you kiss me, fever. When you hold me tight, fever. In the morning, fever all through the night. Sun lights up the daytime, yeah. Moon lights up the night. I light up when you call my name, 'cause you know I'm gonna treat you right. You give me fever. Yeah. When you kiss me, fever. When you hold me tight, fever. No, I'm on fire. Fever all through the night.
I love that song.
Am I
too.
moving?
Yeah, you're moving.
Am I
You're
moving?
moving.
It's hard not to.
How has music changed your life?
You know, I was thinking about what we might talk about today, and again, I'm going to mention my husband, Robert. And as we were talking about various things, I started to cry, and I said, "Oh my God, I hope I don't cry when I talk to Cal." But how has it changed my life? Was that your question?
Mm-hmm.
It's become such a part of me that in my spirit, in my confidence, in my enjoyment of people, I enjoy people. I met Janice, who's your intern, I understand.
Yes,
and
Janice Manning, yes.
What, Janice Manning?
Manning,
Manning, okay. And she's got a wonderful you as an intern. She's very lucky.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I believe it to be true. It's allowed me to, like I said, to bring what's my heart to other people. And that to me, and also we're not even talking technique here, where
Right.
how
Yeah.
vocally what has to be done vocally.
That's a great analogy, though.
But
Yeah.
it's me and really could be a huge audience, but it's you. So no matter how many people are out there, it's still I'm bringing my heart and everything that I've got, and it's changed my life because it's allowed me to, I think, grow in a really. I'm very thankful. I feel very blessed to be able to have done this, and to have had several decades of being able to present music and my voice, and it's like starting to say, not just my voice that comes out my mouth, but my voice from inside. And without going on too long, and I probably have about this, but there are so many different kinds of audiences.
Right.
And it changes my life every time when I'm singing for an assisted living facility, or singing, Cal, when I sing for, say, a memory unit, and that's usually that's not big band, that's just, perhaps keys and me, a smaller situation. People who haven't spoken, people who are sitting in their wheelchairs, and I look at them, and my mom passed away 2 years ago. She was 97, lived a beautiful life.
Wow.
It was wonderful. But these people, if I go over to them and I sing, "You are my sunshine," and something awakens in them, this has changed my life.
Do you remember the film Valley of the Dolls?
I do.
Remember the scene when I think Patty Duke is singing to was it Tony Francisco or and she's singing, and he's coming, and then he starts remembering the
lyrics.
word. He starts remembering the lyrics, and he starts start singing them. That's what made me think of.
You
when
are
you
so
brought
right.
you
And
brought
that you know what, it gave me shivers when you
Yeah,
were saying
I mean,
that,
yeah.
because that's an experience that's life-changing. And it's one of my favorite things to do. It's something very intimate, and it's something that brings joy, and that changes you.
Do you sing in the shower? Are you one of those people who walks around the house singing?
You want to go to the shower? The answer right away is yes, I do. I definitely do. Yeah.
Sing in the car, driving. I mean,
Sing in the car, sing in the house, irritate. No,
Robert.
I'm pointing over to Robert again. No, I sang this morning in the shower. It's just, first of all, it's the acoustics in the shower are so great, and also it's a good time to. You got the steam, and you got and especially if I'm working toward a performance, I'm going over lyrics and
right,
and,
exactly,
yeah.
Like if you're going over lines for a play or
exactly.
a film. This might be a difficult question for you probably, but do you have a favorite song? If you had an opportunity to like perform at Kennedy Center, is there a song that you would pick to sing, or there's just so many? There's so many that you couldn't come up with one.
You sort of answered the question in the question. There are so many, and I love a good ballad like Where or When. The lyrics in a song like Where or When are, the clothes you're wearing are the clothes you wore. Well, not this, because this is extra special, what you've got on here. or a happy Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, like Cheek to Cheek. Heaven, I'm in heaven.
Right.
And my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. And those are the kind of songs that bring joy, but a good ballad is delightful.
Let's talk about your day job, the voiceovers.
My day job,
Your
my bread and butter
your
job.
bread and butter job.
Okay.
Give me a voiceover right quick. Just give me a voiceover.
All right. Here's something that everybody knows. You'll appreciate this. I guess probably everybody here has heard this. And this is one of those voices that you hear that, in fact, before I got here this morning, I worked for a client in Italy, and then when I get home, I'll be working for, and that was for actually a phone. Imagine they want, English all over the country. It's the language that's spoken in most countries. So this is what I'll be doing this afternoon. Your call is very important to us. Please hold. We'll be with you right away. And every time I say that, I always want to say, your call really isn't important to us. I'm going to go out and have a cup of coffee, and go ahead and hold on, and I'll be with you.
Didn't you do a voiceover for a bank teller, or for a bank?
Yes.
Yeah. Do that for me, because it sounded exactly like when I called my bank.
Well, okay. I'll do this one especially for you then.
Okay.
Okay. Or maybe I'll do it for Janice.
Janice.
Your balance is $1.35. Janice, don't lose your intern job. Keep going. But yeah, and you know what? They don't do it that way anymore. Now but I'm asked to do the voice of sound-alike Siri Light, or the voice of.
You do Siri?
Yeah, it's all kind of that AI robotic sound.
Let me hear it.
Let's see. Ask me a question.
Where can I find Walmart, the nearest Walmart?
The nearest Walmart is 3.5 miles away. And you know how she gets something? Sometimes she says, the mall is, and then it's just like the wrong inflection. They're working on it a lot.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most important element in being a successful voiceover actor, if I can say that.
Yeah, absolutely. To be successful, really, it's almost a given that you better come with the goods, okay? You better, and by the way, it doesn't have to be your wonderful voice or any, people go, oh, Dianne, you have such a great voice, but you know what? A lot of times, that isn't even what people want. They want to hear maybe another kind of voice, or, you know, I'm not talking about a character voice, but just, you know, something a little more current and a little more as opposed to the smooth voice. So to be successful, you want to know the biggest thing? Right. It's a business. It's like show business. It isn't called a business for nothing. It's a business. I have to market myself all the time.
Do you ever get calls to a voiceover for a child?
You know, anymore, there are so many children, and okay. Anymore, by the way the industry has changed, just like we have a studio, one of our bedrooms has now been relegated to my voiceover studio, because everything used to be in studio. There were wonderful, wonderful studios like Commercial Recording and many others, where I would be in studio where somebody else was the engineer. And but now
you do your own.
Now I do my own.
And you just send them in.
Yeah, I'm in my pajamas.
Wow.
And you know, incredible. Like no makeup, and nobody knows, you know, what I look like. They don't care. They care that as long as I deliver their script. Like I did the runway for, honey, what was it? What was it? Oh, for Gucci. Thank you. It was the Gucci runway. I did the voiceover, again in Italy, for the Gucci runway, and that was that luxurious kind of, that voice.
Hit me with it now.
It's kind of that same voice. It's Mr. Cal will be featuring today Cal's Jordan sneakers. They're not, though. And wonderful bow tie. Take a look. This is Gucci's 2023 season, blah, blah, blah. And let's take a look. Take a spin. Take a walk. Take a look. This is what will be on for spring. These are the colors for spring. These blues for spring. The Gucci look. Yeah.
You got it. You nailed it.
But marketing, business is, that's how it's done now. You started to say, do I ever get called to speak like a child? I used to be the voice of, this goes back a little while, but for American Greeting, I did Create a Card. I don't know if you remember those machines. They were everywhere. And also irritating, because when you walked by them, they were motion detected, and I'd say, hi, you know, like, don't you want to make a card? So there was that. And I also did the early pinnings for strawberry shortcake for American Greetings. And that was and Care Bear, that whole line. If anybody's got kids, that's, you know, they would remember that.
So what's next for Dianne Palmer? What are you doing next?
Well, I'm thinking I'm going to go to Walmart and we're going to grocery shop this afternoon. I think that, actually, for real, I finished a production. I produced and directed and put together a show called Frank and Dinah Side by Side. Frank Sinatra, Dinah Shore.
Oh, wow.
And I did this with a very fine Sinatra singer, Sinatra-esque singer, very well known in Cleveland. And he and I worked together, and that was a great deal of fun. So I really enjoyed producing that. Excuse me, one more time.
It's okay.
Cut that. But what I'm working on now is small instrumentation, me, piano, probably, definitely bass, and maybe drums. And it depends on how big the venue is. For upscale restaurants. We're not talking the bar scene. We're talking restaurants. We're talking country clubs, and but we want to have a special spin on it. I'm looking for something that has more of a theme. Love is always a good theme.
Yes.
And with just to make people, again, just bring joy, make them happy, and that's what I'm working on right now.
Well, make sure you let me know.
Thank you, Cal.
I'll try to come.
Okay.
Thank you for being on my show.
Oh, Cal, are we done?
We're done.
Oh, and I can't get up, otherwise I would want to come over and hug you.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, thanks so much.
I'd like to thank my special guest, Miss Dianne Palmer, for hanging out with us today on Creative Focus. So that's it, Cleveland, we're out. But remember, a true artist is not only inspired, but inspires others. I'm Cornell Calhoun III for TV20 and Creative Focus. Until the next time becomes our time, be well, be safe.